Hello, 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 and welcome back to the 12. This is a show about the Women's Super League, aka the highest division of women's football in England. Over the course of this past season, you've listened to us discuss all things WSL both on and off the field. Each week, we broke down the games, showcased some stars, and highlighted important stories surrounding the game. My name is Deepti. Unfortunately, Mark could not be here with us today, but I'm here with my co-host Tom Baum. And wait, where's Treb?
Where's Treb?
He's not. We gotta get him in.
Wait. That's the. Oh wow.
Hi. Yes, hello. Hi.
I can't.
I don't have to do such things. Yes. Hello.
For those of you listening on just audio, please watch the YouTube for this part of it.
Hello, everybody.
He is really eating carrots in over here. I can't. Not the crowd. Not the crowd.
All right, well, go on. Put it on.
Hello. Hi.
And
Yes.
there is Mr. Treb Tracy.
It's 100 degrees in LA. I'm still doing this bit. I don't care.
To the audio audience, you can tell that Treb lives in LA because he was peeved and parenting with the best of them. I tell you that.
Yes. It is a celebratory evening, afternoon, wherever you are. As you know, this is the first episode post Champions League final. And before I get too crazy, I do think we should pass it off to the person that was actually there, because we have someone here that was actually there in the house who is also an Arsenal fan. So,
yes.
Deep, please. I will clear the lane for you.
Thank you. And you know what? I feel like I need to finish the intro because this week we are talking about Champions, Champions, ole, ole, ole. That is right, the Arsenal, the champions of Europe. I was there two times now. That is correct. My goodness, what a weekend, what a match day, what everything. It was worth every single penny spent to get there. And like, honestly, even if we lost, it would have been worth every penny because the vibes were just so good. But just the fact that they won and that they played so freaking well against Barcelona, I almost cried. I don't know if I did shed a tear during the thing because I was just like so elated but I definitely did lose my voice. There was so much yelling and screaming and everything, and I like I'll just start at the beginning. So I had gone to, obviously, you guys know, I booked my flights to Lisbon. I had bought a pack of tickets. You could buy up to 4. So I bought 4, not knowing who was going to come with me. I had a couple friends here in London who were like, oh, maybe I'll come. And they're also Arsenal fans. They didn't end up making the trip. One friend was like, oh, maybe I'll switch to, she was coming to Lisbon for a random reason, but the day after. And she was like, oh, maybe I'll try to switch my flight. It was way too expensive. She couldn't do that. Anyway, I was staying at a hostel. The morning of the match, I did like a walking tour in Lisbon, and I was wearing my Arsenal gear. I was wearing the scarf. I don't know if you can see, there's the logo. And the host was like, oh, why are you in Lisbon? I was like, well, you see, there's this big final. And actually the hostel was literally like a block down from where they had the big UEFA Champions League like fan zone. And so everybody knew it was happening in the weekend. And I was like, well, I'm here. I've come from London. I'm here to watch my team. And I have some extra tickets if anybody wants to come. And immediately, these like 3 girls who I made friends with on the tour, they were like, yeah, we'll come. And so they had been to, I think each of them had been to 1 football match in their entire lives. And so I was like, come on, you're gonna have such a good time. Like, so yeah, I went with them, and on the way there, it was really funny. We ended up being in a train that was full of Barca fans, and so of course it was me and two others, I think, wearing Arsenal gear. Everyone else was a Barcelona fan, and they were, of course, like I've said it before, and I'll give it to them. They are great fans, like a great fan base in terms of their passion and how they travel and everything. It's truly only really like the really online folks that can get a bit annoying, but like the in person, Barcelona fans really do show up and show out. So they were there. They were chanting and cheering the entire way to the stadium, and then we got to the stadium, and I think it was like it's a 50,000 seating capacity, or maybe 40,000, something like that. Most like 90% of the seats were filled as far as I could see. Arsenal had one section in the corner. It was across like a few of the sections of the stadium that was their fan section. Barcelona was on the other side, the other corner. But the remainder of like all the quote unquote neutral seats were actually filled with mostly Barcelona fans, which was not surprising. One, because they're very close to Lisbon. Two, because the tickets for the Champions League final went on sale to general public like long before we knew who the teams in the final were. And so I think because, this is their like fifth Champions League final and whatever, they were going for a third in a row to win. Barcelona fans kind of just grab them up, and they can, because it's more likely that they will make the final. Whereas I don't think a lot of Arsenal fans expected this, like we said. And so not a lot of them like bought tickets for just like what would have been a neutral match for them. And so, yeah, the breakdown maybe like 70-30 Arsenal-Barcelona, or Barcelona-Arsenal, I would say. But Arsenal fans were so loud, and just as soon as we entered the stadium, like it was already packed with red and white. People were cheering immediately. We got there right as like players were doing their initial warm-up in just like warm-up gear. And so it was so cool, just the whole the vibe and everything. On each of the seats as well, I should have brought the poster, but with each seat in the Arsenal section had a poster, and they were like, hold this up like when the players come out on the field. And it was funny though, because so one side was red and one side was white, but both sides had like the same words. It had the logo, and it had hold up the plain side towards the field. But because both sides were printed with words and stuff, we didn't have a plain side. We didn't know what that meant. So I almost think they accidentally double-sided printed all of them. And so everyone was like, okay, we'll just pick one. So I almost wonder, I don't know if they showed it on the broadcast, because this was when the teams came out, like the lineups came out, and they did their whole like opening ceremony thing. We were all holding them up at that point. So I'm not sure if like it was meant to be that it like showed the logo or like it said something, but it was just a sea of red and white, which is still really cool. But yeah, that was really funny.
So you're telling me that in 2 consecutive seasons, there has been an Arsenal hiccup in like something or other, like whether it be socks or signage?
I guess so. That's what my assumption was, that they misprinted them, but I'm not sure, because they were, yeah. But either way, it was really cool, that part. The opening ceremony was like fun, it was like a big show and dance, and then the part that like gave me actual chills and goosebumps though was right at the end of the opening ceremony, when like the Champions League theme music is playing and everyone's holding it up. Across from our view, we see giant, like, it's not a tifo per se, but there were banners, red and blue banners of the Barcelona colors rolling up through the stands on their side, and then a giant also banner, like a Barca banner, coming down from the top of the stands. And like we're like, whoa, that's cool. And then we turn around and we see right above our section is this giant Arsenal banner coming down, and all of us holding the red and white. And it says like, I need to pull up a photo again to see exactly what it said, but it was like in black, white, and red. And I think it was like from sea to sea, or like we travel something. Let me put it. Yes, it said we all follow the Arsenal over land and sea. And let me pull it up so folks who do watch it can see. Did they show this on the broadcast?
A few times.
A few
But
times.
that's like a familiar, like that's the banner they pull out for all of the big matches usually.
Right.
For men and women, like that's usually the one that's been around for several years now. So like we see an FA Cup, you know, things like this. Like we're rarely in a Champions League final, so I don't want to be like every Champions League final, but like
yeah. So that was right behind our section. They rolled that down. We were holding the red and white, and then they played North London Forever, and like everyone hold their scarves up, singing it. Again, goosebumps, chills every time I hear it in like during a match. Even just like a regular league match day, I get chills with that because it's just it's different hearing it in the stadium. But in this sort of big event, it was like extra so. And so that was all right before the actual kickoff. And I was already like, this is so worth it. No matter what happens, I'm like so ready. And then the match happened, and oh my goodness. It's like, I feel like, Trev, we should tag team what happened during the game actually.
I had to like rewatch this match 3 times because the first time I was just a complete ball of nerves. Like I don't I mean, all I remember during the first watching it live was just feeling sick almost the whole time because I'm just like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? How is this gonna play out? You know, because I mean, as much confidence as you have as an Arsenal fan, there's still like you're still playing Barcelona. Like that's you know what I mean? Like and that doesn't change.
I'll say you had way more confidence. Obviously, if you listen to like the preview episode, Treb called it. He was like, "We're gonna win."
Like, I mean, well, yeah, it wasn't 3-1. It wasn't 3-1. But it's like I've always said, like I said leading up to it, and I firmly believed it was that on the day, like if nothing fucky happened, if we didn't get, and I think that was a really well refed match in terms of letting both sides play. Like I don't think there was a moment on either side where you're like, what kind of call was that? Like it was very much no, we're gonna let you play. You're gonna figure out who the winner is on the pitch. And I love that. And I just felt like all things equal, like we beat them. I feel like I feel like Arsenal on their day, all things equal, beat anybody on the planet, especially the women's side. Like they just, especially where they are now, they may not be the most talented roster on paper, but they are experienced. They may not have been in the Champions League before, but they understand the big stage, the big moments. I mean, we've talked about it throughout the year. Like every time they seem to play at the Emirates, they play way better than they do at Meadow Park. Like they are built and they live for these moments. And so, yeah, I mean, like I said, I just, it wasn't 3-1. I was a little overconfident in that, but yeah, I firmly believe that like we had them. And even still during the match, like I said, I was just nervous. Like I felt like I was going to vomit 10 times for sure.
Yeah. I will say it's really funny. Right before the match, I met up with a couple there was like Baller FC, shout out to them. They had basically rented out a pub or pub/club bar thing in Lisbon for all Arsenal fans who were there to come and just like vibe and party before. So I met a few people there. We were talking about like predictions and everything, and I like of the few people I talked to, no one thought we would actually win, and I was in the same sentiment. I was like, yeah, like I'm just here as long as it's well. Actually, I think I said this before. I would rather either we win or we lose in like a blowout. It's like I don't want it to be close and have like just like have those what if moments, right? But then some people shared that sentiment, but they were like, yeah, I don't want it to be really close, but I don't want it to be a blowout in the sense like 6-1. Somebody thought it'd be 6-1 Barcelona, but they were like
a 2-1 dominant or like a 2-0 dominant, 3-0.
Yeah, dominant or 4-2. But they were like, as long as we lose by less than Chelsea. And I was like, does that mean 4-1 or does that mean 8-2? But I was like, yeah.
Right, yeah. Which like, are we talking individual matches like 4-1? Yeah. Are we talking like as long as we don't let in 8? Like what?
No. So individual matches, they were like 4-2 would be fine, 3-1 fine, but as long as it's not like a 4-1 or worse. I really wish Mark were here to like.
That's so cold-blooded because y'all can't stand them. Y'all really cannot stand them, and that's hilarious.
No. And a lot of it is their fault. Like, let's just be real. Let's call it what it is. Like, no, I mean, like, let's just like, cause like, I think as Arsenal, like, and I think Katie McCabe proved it, right? Like, Arsenal fans have one true rival. It's Tottenham.
Big Shamrock.
Yeah, it's Tottenham. It's Jack Wilshere after the FA Cup final. What does he do? Drunkenly gets on stage and starts the Tottenham is shit chant. Like, what does Katie McCabe do in the middle of Champions League celebrations? Tottenham is shit. Like, that's our main rival. But then we have other teams that over the last decade and a half that have started to feel themselves that want to get our attention, and we will gladly give it to you. And Chelsea and City, like Tom knows, City is one of those where they like to yap, and like Chelsea, same thing, yapping, especially on the women's side. Like, yeah, so it is what it is. You give the smoke, you catch the smoke. That's what it goes.
Exactly. Can I just mention, Tom made popcorn right before we started recording.
Hey, munching on that. No, this is a movie for him.
Listen. This is going to be a movie. It's going to be a tragedy for me personally, with the only silver lining that, yay, Arsenal won. That means that the league's coefficient will be higher than it is currently. Yay! That's it. But, I mean, I know I'm going to be entertained, so I'm just like, yep,
But yeah, so we were saying lose by less than Chelsea, and that's what I was going in with. I was like, oh, it'll be fun. Then the match started, and like 15 minutes go by, 20 minutes go by, it's still scoreless, and like not even just scoreless, but Arsenal had some great chances too. It's like we were actually breaking through Barca defense. There was the one, like,
okay,
what is it, 12? Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, because I think I jumped ahead of you.
I was going to say, well, there was the one, like, the first, what we thought we scored in the first, like, 15 minutes with the own goal by Paredes. We went crazy with that. And then, of course, like, VAR called it off. She was off. Was it Frida was off by, a foot, literally, or like an arm or something. That was on the opposite end of where we were sitting, so it was hard to tell, like, who was off and who was not. So we thought it was just own goal and scored. Of course, when VAR sign came on, we all shut up for a bit, but like, okay, but it's all right, like that. And then Frida had like a rocket, and that was like actually saved incredibly by Catacol. And so there were chances, and like seeing that, and then having it get all the way to halftime and still be scoreless, I was like, oh my gosh, this could really be happening. Like, I might be witnessing history for myself and for the team. And so, yeah, before I get to like second half and stuff, Treb, and both of you, Tom and Treb, I want to hear your thoughts on the first half. No, thoughts on the first half, and at what point, at least for me, it was about at that, like, it was when Frida hit that shot that I was like, oh, this could happen. And like Arsenal's playing really well, and we've held them. And then there was that point, and then there was the one, because we need to talk about the defense. This was a defensive masterclass.
For me, it was the 12-minute mark is when I really felt like we had a fighting chance, because Barcelona did what I figured they would do, which is they came out pretty fast, pretty strong. They were getting a lot of space, which I knew would happen. I mean, we even talked about it. I said, as long as they don't get too much space, we should be fine. And we were. Like, the defensive performance early on, because a lot of people, we'll talk about that later, the narrative of all this, but like the defensive performance early on, just that first 12 minutes where Barcelona had, like, I think 3 to 4 legit looks at goal where they were getting really close, and a defender was there each time. And I talk about the 12th minute because I believe it was the 12th minute mark that Catley had come in on that ball that was like a perfectly sent ball by Barcelona right into the box, literally at point blank range. And it looked like that was a sure goal. And Catley comes out of nowhere in that center back position and like slides in front of it, and it deflects off of her and goes away. And at that moment, I was like, okay, we're here to play. I was like, because they've looked like they were going to score like 4 times, and our defense has been there every single time. And I felt like if we can get into the half, either with a goal or even at 0, I felt like it was game on for sure, because I know how Arsenal are in the second half. They're pretty much a second half team. And I think I even like skeeted this out. I was just like, Arsenal are playing the most dangerous game of rope-a-dope I've ever seen. Like, in that first half, they were very much like, we're going to attack a little bit, but we're not going to get too greedy, right? Like, we're going to We're going to press you a little bit. Okay, they're starting to break down the press. Let's defend. Fuck it. Get back in our shell. Get back in our shell. Let's do that for 30 minutes. It's like 20 minutes. It's fine. And we'll take the pressure. And then like we'll push a little bit more. Okay, now they're starting to come back on the counter again. Like and so doing that for like the first 60 minutes of the match, I was like, okay, it's dangerous to do that against Barcelona. Like I said, just giving them space and time. But if there's a defense, I feel confident in doing that. Again, with Daphne in goal, I think is the biggest X factor to that, because you can just tell this team is fine giving up 15 yards of space with Daphne in goal, because they're like, if I don't get to it, I'm going to at least get close enough to make it a hard shot, and I got faith that Daphne's going to stop it. And like there was only one time where it looked like it was in the second half, and we'll get to that, but there was only one time where it looked like, oh my God, like where she had a Manu moment where like that ball was chipped up high and she was just like stuck. And it was just like, you're just kind of watching it helplessly, and then it hit the crossbar and went out. But like, yeah, I mean, that first half, when I saw the defense come to play in the first 15 minutes, that's when I was like, yeah, we're here to play. Like, we have a chance.
Right. And like, just to recap the lineup, we had Van Domselaar in goal, Emily Fox at right back. The two center backs were Leah Williamson, Steph Catley, and then Katie McCabe at left back. So that back line held it down. And like, this was probably the best performance I've seen of Leah's, hands down, and the handful of matches that I've seen her play. And it's really like, it's funny to say that now, because in the first little bit of the match, I could tell she was struggling a bit, and maybe not like actually physically, but you could tell something was up with her.
Well, the nerves, it's probably the nerves. I mean, that's the biggest match of her Arsenal.
It could have been nerves,
career,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she's
Fair.
never
and
been
like
there.
For being an Arsenal fan through and through since when she's she's
and
literally
honestly,
dreaming
like being
of
an Arsenal legend, right? Like, you're a legend of the club. Everyone loves you, and like you're finally in the biggest match that the club has had since the last kind of generation of legends, with like, you know, Rachel Yankee and Alex Scott and you know, Kelly Smith, who's like a coach now. Kelly Smith is a coach now on the team.
Yeah, she's
but she was a player in 2007. So like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like that next crop that everyone was like, yes, you're it. And like, I don't want to say disappointing as a whole, but it's just like, you know, we haven't had that European success. So I think maybe just being in that moment was kind of like, not necessarily nerves, like scared nerves, but just nerves like, I have to do this. Like, I need to do this, you know, and you can, as a player, sometimes when you get in that mindset, you might tend to do a little too much, you know, so. That's
true. That could be it, because even in the post-match, she was like, yeah, I wasn't feeling the best today. But then she goes out, and like so many times I could see her like after a few minutes of playing, or after a single play, if she stopped, she would like hunch over and like have to like really, really catch her breath or something. And it like looked a bit like she was struggling, but my goodness, like, yeah, there was some moment where she just, it almost seemed like it was a hiccup, but she was so controlled and so actually just like calm with it that she would get the ball out or stop it or whatever it was in that moment. What she needed to do, she did. So yeah, hats off to her. I also think it's like, it's fate, and it's just like a full circle moment where she was one of the kids walking out with the players at Meadow Park in the 2007 final. And now she's here playing in the big final and winning it as well. So that's just like, what a moment for her and for her family. There was what you mentioned about giving Barcelona a lot of space. I noticed that, and like we had a really good view. I was right behind the corner flag, especially when Barcelona was attacking on our end. Arsenal was giving so much space, and like we had, you know, Rolfo and Bonmati, and like everyone was just running through all these gaps, and like it was almost like Arsenal players were kind of forming an arc around them, but that middle pocket would just be moving with the player up until they got into the box. And then they tried to do whatever they could, and then the defense was there to stop it. But that happened so many times, and like honestly throughout the entire game, that I almost think that was part of tactics.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and it is.
That was actually going to be what my comment was on the match. That, like, I really liked the way that Caldente and Little really steered Bonmati and Putellas where they wanted them to be. Like, it wasn't like they were able to get out and create. Like, yes, they gave them space, but they gave them space that they didn't necessarily want to take.
Right. It was like...
yeah.
Like in
Like,
American
and, like,
football, they were
limiting their,
American
like-
football. They were the defensive ends. Like they were the ones making sure nothing gets outside of them, keep everything inside for the people in the middle to really congest it and fuck them up.
And I will say that, like, yes, like Arsenal's defense did play fantastically this entire match, but I do think that the way that I do think that Little and Caldente outplayed Putellas and Bonmati, which, like, I think my thought was, is Monum going to be able to outplay Guijarro at Patry in the middle? Not really thinking that whoever that Renee started was going to be able to compete with Putellas and Bonmati, honestly. So that probably was what impressed me the most.
Yeah. I was really happy and like a little bit surprised at how well Kim Little played, because we know we've like seen she's maybe towards the end of her career, and like there have been some times when she hasn't played the strongest over the course of the season, but she's always been that kind of stalwart in the midfield. And for her to captain this game and play as strongly as she did, she had, like you said, she was really controlling that with Caldente. And so yeah, that I lost my train of thought where I was going with that, but I just think each line from the back to the front played really strong, and like whatever Renee told them to do, it like worked, and they did it, and they played it out really well, and they didn't have to go to like a plan B or plan C. Like I feel like their plan A just worked. Whereas Barcelona, you could see like
well, I think Romeo got
plan.
tripped up because, like, we talked about Arsenal's lineup. Like, I think him starting Pina probably was not in his best interest, because like he didn't really have a way to change the game in the way that he wanted to after Arsenal scored.
Yeah. I think he took out Pina only because she was on a yellow, but even then it doesn't make, like, it's a final. Like I feel like he should have probably just let her in and let her keep playing. But you're right.
He swapped in Peruelo at the 62nd minute mark, which was 10 minutes before Arsenal's goal. But like, it wasn't. I mean, it was still an early sub. That's fair. That's an early sub. But like, definitely you can tell that was probably not the.
And I think that because Pina had been in such good form over the last like 3 weeks, that like he thought like, oh, I probably need to start her because she's doing well, and she had been doing well in Champions League as well. I also think that like she was going to be more impactful coming off the bench than she would have been, like, because her goals per 90 like were insane because she was coming off the bench and she was scoring like a brace or a hat trick off the bench. I think that Romeo probably wanted to, if given the opportunity, would probably start Perueu in front of Pina there.
I think so, yeah. It's a lot of it we can say, in hindsight, they could have done something better or worse. I think it initially, like you said, it made sense because she was playing so well and leading up to this, like starting her seemed like the best thing. I think there was a point early on when she went down with a knock and like it didn't really seem like much. Maybe it was bothering her throughout the course of the match and that's why they had to take her off or whatever. But I also think it was just like he was racking his brain to figure out what to do because his plan A, plan B was not working. Like my biggest, I'm still like shocked that Arsenal held them scoreless. Like, it's not even that they won. The key part is that they didn't let a single goal in. And who does that to Barcelona? But
hey, that's disrespectful.
Okay. Fine.
City did it.
From round one, group stage, yeah. You're right. I take that back. Two English teams can do that, I guess.
But just two.
Just two. But yes, and then halftime came along and nerves were yay high again.
I was about to say, I feel like at halftime is when Arsenal fans really were like, holy shit. Because like it's one thing to be going up against Barcelona, like you said. A lot of people probably just felt like, okay, if they're gonna beat us, then beat us 2-0, 3-0, get an early goal. Like, let us know ahead of time that this is over. But now it's almost like getting caught. Forgive the pun with Tom wearing their shirt. It's almost like getting caught in a current, and you're now like in the depths of the ocean, and you're just like, shit. We have Barcelona scoreless with 45 minutes to go. Like, as Arsenal fans know, like that's where the hope comes in.
Exactly.
That's where the belief cut, and like now you're sitting there like, oh shit. Here comes that fucking hope again. Like,
well, if your hope was high, the way that Barcelona came out in the second half, oh my god, I can't even imagine.
You know that's what they're gonna do because
like
from what was it 2 years ago, the final against Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg was leading 2-0 at halftime, and Barcelona ends up winning that match 3-2. Like, you just know that no matter what, they're gonna come out with a bang and like come out so hot. And especially, like, even the fans, like I said, like at least 70% of that stadium was Barcelona fans. They were extra loud coming in. Like, we were trying to keep up with them, but I mean, you know, just by numbers, they were so loud. And then they weren't doing a lot of like whistling or booing and stuff while in the first half, but then every touch Arsenal had, they would like get really loud. And then obviously cheer for when Barcelona got close to goal. They were hot for like 15 minutes, I think. And then I think it went back and like calmed down back to the level of the first half. Because again, like they weren't getting through. I also want to say for me, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I almost prefer like, I think it was just this match though. I almost preferred having Barcelona attack on our end. Like that was like more, I was less nervous that way because I could see exactly what was happening. Whereas when they were attacking on the far end and I couldn't actually see like the lines of exactly where they were moving to, I was like nervous because I was like, I wouldn't actually know until they shoot, like see what happened. Whereas from the other side, I could kind of tell where play was going and like know if it was an actual threat or not. So that was just funny. I was more nervous second half, especially because of that, because they were like attacking farther away and I couldn't see it. But should we talk about the goal? Or we'll say what subs were made first because that is important.
Well, I mentioned earlier that Parajuelo was brought in.
60-second minute.
60-second minute. Yes.
Yeah.
And then Arsenal made a slew of subs with Frida coming out for Stina in the 67th minute, which we will talk about soon, that being crucial. Chloe Kelly, who was on a yellow, came out for Beth Mead in the 68th. And to be fair, I don't want to say Chloe had a bad game, but it was very much, she wasn't like in that killer.
She gave her 2 chances in this match that she was going to give you, and then she was done.
Yeah, basically. It was like she gave you the chances that you wanted her to give. We couldn't capitalize on it. It is what it is. But
I've seen her movies before. Yes,
exactly.
Was key.
And to be fair, she took one of the first like big shots that Arsenal side took. So she's always the one to kind of start it. And like we've said before, I love her because she's not afraid to shoot, and she will do that, and then like build the confidence in the other players to shoot as well.
But I think it was smart bringing in Mead because Mead at least like she's one of those crafty attackers, right? Like she's not going to hit you with flash, but she's going to be lurking around the right place at the right time, especially with the way Renee likes to play, where it's like, she's very aware of where she needs to be. And so I think that was just a smart sub in terms of bringing on experience, right? You're not necessarily subbing in talent for talent. You're bringing on a bit of a more experienced player within the system to understand, like, okay, we need to kind of get this game by any means necessary. And 6 minutes after those subs, any means necessary.
I don't even think it was 6 minutes after the sub. I think
it was. I'm looking at the time. Yeah, the goal was in the 74th minute.
Well, no. I mean, for me to state that Stina, she, as someone who has watched her kill Man City multiple times, like she flipped the match. She completely flipped it. Like, because I think her first touch, like she just literally took it off the defender and charged the goal. Yeah,
that was a funny watching at home because that was the one. Announcers completely mistaken.
They thought it was Russo.
For Alicia Russo. Yeah, they were like, Russo stole the ball off the defender. Russo going down. And like, it wasn't until they watched the replay they were like, oh wait, that's
Oh wait, that was
yeah,
Stina.
that's the wrong one. Oh snap!
But
Let
you
me
could
not be
also
mean.
tell that obviously the fresh legs helped so much because she
Mhm.
was sprinting, and every single time she got the ball, or every single time someone else was there, she was making those runs, and she kept sprinting, kept going, and she was crucial off the bench. And I think at that point, even before, just because of the nerves, because of the weight of the match, and like just a long ass season, you could tell that some of the players were actually tired.
Fading.
Like there
Yeah,
were
they were fading. It was good.
a
It was good.
few moments when Caitlin Ford like could have gotten to a ball, but she just couldn't make the sprint or she couldn't run, and like it went to Barcelona's side, and they got it. So there were a few times. It wasn't just her. There were a couple other players too, where it was like, okay, if you could have sprinted at like what you usually do, you would have got there. But yeah, so those fresh legs definitely helped, and just her being able to make those runs was phenomenal. And I think, yeah, just both the subs, like you said, both of them working together was great. And leaving in also Russo. A lot of times they switch out Russo for Stina, and I've always said I like when they both play together on the pitch. So I think that was a good sub on Renee's part to leave Russo on, keep Stina.
That was something that the commentary team made mention of a couple times.
Yeah. But okay, Trev, you can talk about the build up to the goal, and then I'll tell what it looked like from our end.
Yeah, well, I was just about to say, like, to me, this is where you really have to give. I'm sorry, I'm like pulling up the visual of it just to like again make sure I have this all right. But like, you have to give Caldente credit because I think it was her that really started it.
Yeah.
On the corner, yeah, it was. It was her that really started it. She held the ball up really well. She drew in two defenders, two Barcelona players who were like, we absolutely cannot let her of all people get this going. And she played a beautiful pass into the top of the box that nearly hit the ref, but the other sub, Beth Mead, was able to get on and control. And what Beth Mead did that I really loved was there were two defenders closing in on her, or I want to say Bars because I don't think they were defenders. I think it was Parajuelo and someone else, but they were closing in on her. And Beth Mead like did a sneaky great move where she like shifted to the left just enough to attract that attention, and it opened up Stina to like drift in the opposite direction. And that's when Beth Mead put in the pass, and then you had Stina just wide open, touch, turn, shoot, and like goal. And when that happened, I'm not gonna lie, when I saw that goal happen, like you could see the play developing. I'm like, oh my god, Beth Mead has a shot. Oh, the defense closed in. Oh my god, that's a great pass. And then I was like, Stina's wide open. She hits the goal, and my first reaction was like, we have to wait for VAR.
Yeah.
Like inside, I'm like jumping for joy, but I'm also like VAR because like I know how Arsenal is. I know what VAR is like. I'm like, I have to see the replay. I have to see the and like they showed the replay on the broadcast, and I was like, oh, she's on. I was like, she's on by
Yeah.
and that's when I started celebrating. That's when I was just like, holy shit! Like we just. And I'll be honest, I felt like that. Like I felt like that was it. Honestly, I was like, we won. I was like, we're champions now. I truly felt that, even though I stayed nervous for especially the last 7 minutes of extra time, but like I just felt like with that goal, I was like, one of two things is gonna happen. Well, I felt like one thing might happen. One thing was for sure gonna happen. We were gonna lock down defensively. I was like, now they're fucked because now you thought we were playing good defense before. Now we're playing with the lead and not necessarily parking the bus because that's not really what the Arsenal women do. But like, I knew that the defense was going to be even more like everyone was going to be on top of their shit now. And I thought that was going to open the floodgates to perhaps maybe get like a second and third, truly, because I was like, that was such a great ball movement, such a great play, such a great buildup. I was like, this might be the goal we needed to maybe sneak in a second. And we almost did, I think, like shortly after that, we almost had a second.
We almost had a second and a third.
That's what I'm saying. So I thought that goal was like gonna really open up the floodgates in that aspect. Because really, up until that point, I felt like we had been controlling the match. Like, yeah, they had been given a lot of space. They were getting off a lot of shots, but they weren't doing anything with the shots because the defense was there. We were giving them the space we wanted to give them, not what they were creating. We weren't really going for it in attack wholeheartedly. But the times that we were getting up there, we were putting in together some nice attempts, some nice looks that were just being stopped by great efforts from from their goalkeeper, and it was just like it just when that goal hit, it very much felt like this was it. It was just like the storybook ending is gonna happen. Like truly, I felt like I was like that was it. I was like we're gonna do this, and I could almost feel like Chelsea fans seething. I could. And oh man, were they mad in the group chat?
How many strays is Chelsea gonna catch this episode?
Oh man, were they mad in the group chat? They were not thrilled with that one. They oh yes, and it was kind of funny because like at that time it's almost like the hate fuels you because like I could just feel everyone who hated Arsenal like praying these last 15 minutes like, oh my God, Barca, please for the love of God get a goal, because they could just tell as time was ticking away. You just knew. Oh my God. Yeah. So shout out to Stina, man. Rap name Black Stinius. Arsenal lore forever. I mean.
Yeah. And it's so funny that, like you said, we were all waiting for VAR. So first of all, no one.
Like in the stadium, yeah.
Yeah. None of us and nobody in the stadium, including the players on the field, expected Beth to make that pass. Just because you could see how congested it was around her. But like I said, the way she shifted just opened up that lane. But yeah, no one expected that pass. And so when that was made and like it was a quick like 1-2, Stina turned and shot, right? All of us obviously started cheering, but because that other own goal had been called off, and because it's Stina, who is like we know Alex Morgan has been
I'm gonna say
she's got that trait, you know?
An offside call.
she loves an offside. And we all were like half cheering and just waiting to see, and like they never even showed like VAR check on the big screen in the stadium. I'm not sure if they showed it on TV, but like they didn't show that. You could just see that. I mean, obviously it was taking a little bit of time, but everyone was lining up to kick off again. Even Barcelona players were not like contesting it, and then you just see the ref signal and it's keep playing and like or start again, and like it was like a goal, and then that's when we like all blew up and we're like, oh my God, it counts. But yeah, it's just so like it literally every single Arsenal fan just like waited. We're like, it's Stina, she's offside, she's always offside. And I think looking and from our angle, it didn't look like she was on by a mile. It looked like she
when it first happened, it looked like there was a chance she was off, especially because like Barcelona defenders did that thing defenders like to do when they're
always, yeah.
You know what I mean? They're just like, oh my God, please, please help me. You know what I mean? Just praying that it's offside. But even still, I was just like I said, in the moment when it happened, I was like, that's close. I was like, that looked close. But then when they showed the replay, I was like, oh, she was
but I think they showed it was Ona Bache that kept her on, right?
Yeah.
And afterwards, we didn't know which player it was, but when we were like debriefing the match after, we were like, we know it was obviously one of the Barca players, and it was not just the player, it was her ass. And we were all like, who has been working on her squats and everything?
Who's the thickest out there?
And we're like,
who's got them cakes?
Yeah.
And we're like, all right. And then we figured out it's Bache, and we're like, yeah, okay. Yeah, that kept on. And oh my goodness, since then, I think you're right. Like that, we all thought, okay, we had it now. And like nonstop chanting. I told you I lost my voice. I think I had lost my voice by halftime, honestly. But yeah, nonstop chanting. So much fun. So good. And then they kept coming. Stina had another like one-on-one chance with the keeper.
I honestly thought that was the second. I thought
it should have been the second, to be honest. Like I think it was like
can't get too mad at her, but also like Stina.
Exactly. I think even Alessia Russo had like a really good chance that went straight to the keeper. And so there are a couple, like it literally could have been three. But yeah, it was fine up until 90th minute. And then, like you said, those last 7 minutes.
Oh, okay. So I have to tell you all about the goal as a neutral.
Yes. Okay.
Like from the neutral's perspective, I thought what was really interesting is like, that's probably Barcelona's nightmare, not necessarily the set piece itself, but the set piece going to a second wave, essentially, like transitional defense. That's not anything that Barcelona is accustomed to doing. Like that, they don't give up set pieces. So like, and when they do give up set pieces, they get the ball back. So they're not used to giving up a set piece and then not retaining the ball, like not immediately getting the ball and like tiki-taka their way down the pitch on the other end. So them having forwards where being in positions of defense, like based off of where they were on the pitch, I think that just like scrambled Barcelona's defense. Like even though like everyone was like closing in, like allowing Stina Blackstenius to make that run and Bache like not even like checking like whether she was that, because that was the other thing too. Like she didn't even check to see if she was onside or not.
Yeah. I think there was a whole thing about like communication between Barcelona keeper Katakoy and the defenders as well was like off for this match, because even that own goal, like going back to the first half, when I watched the replay, like we couldn't tell what was happening in the moment, but that it was just Paredes coming in the way of Katakoy. Like Katakoy had a straight line to the ball, would have saved it, and then Paredes just stuck her leg out and like put it into the goal. So there was some poor communication between, I guess, the back line and just like overall in there. So I don't know if that was kind of messing with their heads and like what was happening. Like Tom said, they don't give up too many set pieces. Arsenal had only 2 corners in the whole match, and the goal came off of one of them, but in like a second wave of it, right? The first corner, nothing, or the actual corner kick, nothing really happened, but they got the ball back and went through again, and we just talked through what happened. Barcelona had 12 corners, so like they are not used to having to defend them that much. So Tom, you're exactly correct. I think it just like scrambled them, and they didn't know what to do. But yeah, the communication thing, I think maybe even after that whole own goal, they realized like that's a point to like exploit as well for the rest of the game.
Yeah, to me, like the own goal was so pivotal because I felt like it was what gave the play, like to me, it like seemed to give Arsenal the most hope and Barcelona the most despair.
Yeah.
Well, I think at that point they realized they're in for a fight, right? Like I think
yes,
for better or worse, like, and teams like Barcelona absolutely earn this ability, which is like you go into every match feeling like you're gonna win. You go into every match feeling like you're the shit. You go into every match feeling like nothing the other team does is gonna matter because you're gonna do what you do and you're gonna come away a winner. And especially in a Champions League match, like in the final, like they very much felt, especially like what was it? Probably like what, like an hour flight away from home, right? Like they're like this, everything was in their advantage. Like unless they were playing literally at their home at the Bernabeu, like there was no other way to make it more of an advantage for Barcelona coming into this. Like they had the experience in it, they had the top to bottom better roster on paper for it. Like they had, you know, the coach that was kind of built for this. Like they had everything. And I think in that moment of the own goal, it was a bit like, you know, that flash of mortality. It was like, oh shit, like we can lose this match. Like, yeah. like we like it's been 10 minutes now or whatever it was. Like we haven't been able to score despite having all this space and all this time. And here they come on their first attempt and nearly get us. Like, oh my God, like we need to, and like, I think you're right. I think that was a bit of a shell shock, right? Like they're like, okay, like now they realize they're in a fight now and they have to win the match. Like we're not going to lose this match. You know what I mean? Like we're not going to just give it up. So whoever won it was going to have to win it. And I think, again, like I've said it before, like in those situations, I will always put my money on Arsenal just because throughout history, like this is what they do. Like 1-0 to the Arsenal is a thing for a reason. Like this is who we are. We will grind you out for 95 minutes. Like we don't care. If you want to play that way, we'll play that way. If we have to play that way, we'll play that way. And it doesn't always work. Like there are times where we lose, like we get that, but like more times than not, we're gonna come away better in that kind of match. And I think, I think Barcelona just didn't really expect that from us. I don't think. I think in their minds, they had dispatched. I mean, what was it? The quote that we've seen floating around Twitter from, who was it? Their president or whatever it was. That was before the match even was played at the press conference. Was like, you know, we feel like Arsenal eliminated the team we had to worry about most in Lyon, And like
he was
in
talking
their
cash shit,
mind,
boy.
yeah, and in their mind, I felt like they felt like two things. I felt like Barcelona came into that final feeling like, thank God Arsenal took away Lyon for us, and we've already beaten the best team in London, and we beat them 8-2. And I think both of those things fucked them over because again, Arsenal was coming into that match like, we don't got nothing to lose. We're gonna play the way we play, and at the end of the day, it is what it is. But like, again, that is the most dangerous kind of Arsenal you can play. Like for all the jokes and all this stuff, like that kind of Arsenal is the most dangerous Arsenal to play because they will absolutely do what they got to do to win. So yeah, I just don't think Barcelona expected it.
No, the only player I saw, Bonmati. Maybe this is just good PR press training, but she was like, oh well, kind of the opposite of what the president said though. He was like, oh, they took out Leon, we don't have to worry about them. But she was like, they took out Leon, like we got to worry about Arsenal.
I think it's less PR. Like I'll give respect to Bonmati. Like just listening to her talk throughout her career so far, I think it's very much not so much good PR and not wanting to say the wrong thing. I think she's a star player. Like she understands the sport. She knows anything can happen. And when you're a player of that caliber, you kind of get it. Like you're like, nothing is ever given, right? Like nothing's guaranteed. So and the last thing you want to do as that kind of player is provide bulletin board material for the opponent. So like, yeah, I think it was a little bit of all of that where she's like, look, like they took down what many consider to be our biggest threat after Chelsea, who we took down. So it's like, we got to give them respect for that. And they took down Lyon again. Like I said before, we took down Lyon at their house. We went into their house and dogged them. Not just got away, not just narrowly escaped. We dogged them.
Right.
So.
Also, side note, what is their name? They're not Lyon anymore, right? They're like.
Well, Lioness.
The French Lionesses.
Yeah.
Olympic Lyon, OL of Lionesses, Lions.
Yes, there we go. That is it. But yeah, real quick, those last 7 minutes was the most stressful time and the slowest 7 minutes that could have ever transpired.
Honestly. Like there was a lot of stoppage in the second half. I thought for sure we were going to get like a 12-minute Barcelona cook job. I for sure was like, oh my God, we're going to get like 12 minutes of extra time. Like this is going to suck so bad. And like when I saw 7, I was like, okay, manageable, but still.
Manageable, still a lot. And what's worse is that it's in a majority of the stadiums I've gone to and games that I've seen, once the clock hits 90, they don't show you after that. You don't know in the stadium what the time is, and so you're just going.
Really?
It just stops at 90.
Thing, because like, does that happen for Kansas City too, Tom? Oh, okay. I was about to say maybe that's a European thing because like here in America, like for NWSL, like the matches that I cover, they may not show it on the board or on the scoreboard, but you'll hear an announcement of like, fourth official has added X amount of minutes. So like
we knew it was 7 and we see the like official holding up 7, but I'm saying like they don't show the time, so you don't know how much time has actually like transpired. And so we're just like, wait, and like obviously, I didn't check my watch at when the 7 minutes started, and so like I don't know what 7 minutes is in this time. Like it was going so slowly. I was actually texting my flatmate who was watching back in London. I was like, "What minute is it?"
I heard that. Yeah. They were probably like, "Stop texting me. This is stressful enough."
No, she's not an Arsenal fan. She was a neutral. So she was like,
I would have been like, oh my God, stop texting.
Yeah, stop texting. No, please. She was a neutral. And so she was like, when I texted at that point, it was like 94th. And so she was like, 94. And I was like, okay, just a few more. And then finally, it happened. But yeah, we were all still like chanting, but it was more just like nervous legs shaking and everyone just like kind of like, okay, when is she gonna call? And honestly, my eyes were less on the players and more on the ref because I kept seeing the ref like check the watch to see when she would pick up her whistle. But I do have to. You mentioned it before, but we have to give a shout out to the ref because this was genuinely a really well refed match. Ivana Martincic, I think it was, and she's a Croatian ref. She does the Croatian league and has just done like other UEFA, like through Champions League stages. So really well done. It was really funny. She like was just not taking shit from the players also. No. And anytime a player on both sides would fall and like try to play like and just be an
This is-
actor.
This
She
is
would
how I
literally
knew
go
that
up
she.
to them
This
and be
is how I
like,
knew
"Get up."
that she was a good ref. Big Shamrock didn't give her no shit.
Nope.
Yeah,
like,
Yeah.
like it was like, no, I'm not fucking with her. No.
yeah,
Yep.
It's
Katie
true.
knew. She was like, "No, I'm good."
and Martinsha, she went up to like a couple times during the game. She literally was like play on, and she told the player on the ground, she was like, get up and play, and
Like,
and
they
then the
gonna
player
score
would
me,
get
you
up.
better go,
Yes,
like, you
yeah,
better-
exactly. She's like, come on, they're going. I'm not waiting for you. And so yeah, that was really well done. Obviously, she like gave a few yellows out when they were deserved, and so. Yeah, all around really good. And I think that's what you need, right? You need the ref to not make themselves the center of the game. We see that too often, but that's why we were just able to see what ended up being a fantastic game. And like, yes, some people are like, "Oh, Barcelona didn't play that well." I don't think it's not that they didn't play well. I think we just shut them down. Like maybe they didn't have their strongest game, but
They did.
They played well.
They
like
couldn't.
we
No,
just
I
played
mean, like,
better.
straight up. Like, I get so because, and again, like, this may just be a product of being in a space where there's a lot of rival fans where we are, like, so we get a lot. But like, when we beat Lyon, there was a lot of, oh, well, it's just Lyon. Like, you didn't have to play Barcelona. Oh, it was just Lyon. Like, you had the easy. That's what I heard a lot of. You had the easy draw, as if Lyon is a fucking easy team. Like, what are you even talking about right now? So like, then we go into to play Barcelona in the final, and we shut them down. They had. Let me make sure I get this right, because again, like I'm looking at these stats. They had 20 shots and only 5 on target.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like they were missing high. They were hitting it wide. They were getting blocked by our defense. Leah Williamson alone had 19 defensive actions. 14 of those were clearances. That is defensive wall putting up right there. Like I said, Catley in the 12th minute had that one where she comes in last second and saves the ball. Katie McCabe had several moments where she came in. Even Emily Fox, who like a lot of the U.S. fans do not rate at all for whatever reason, like she also had a lot of moments where she was like escorting players away from the goal, making sure nothing got past her. Like it was all around a grade A defensive performance. And Barcelona couldn't do anything with their plan A. They didn't really have a plan B. They got hit in the fucking mouth, and they didn't know what to do about it. Like, point blank, period. It wasn't a bad game. They didn't struggle. They didn't, like, their struggle was Arsenal's defense. That's
Exactly.
what their problem was. Like
it looked like they were struggling because we shut them down and they didn't know what to do.
And like I said, we were playing a dangerous game of rope-a-dope because like everyone has mentioned so far, we gave them space and time to cook. A lot of it, and they couldn't do anything with it because the plan was to just make it look like you have space and then close them down, and they only got the space that we gave them, and they didn't know how to handle that. And just like real quick tactically, like I think that was the difference between Arsenal and Chelsea, right? Like I think you very much saw how styles can beat teams that may be better than them, because Chelsea are a team that are always going to press no matter what. Like no matter how it's going, they're going to press you for 95 minutes. They're going to always be on the front foot. They're going to always go. And that killed them against Barcelona because they were getting beaten on the counter. They weren't able to press good enough. And with Arsenal, they were like, we're going to press some, but then we're going to drop back and we're going to defend. And we don't mind defending because this is what we do. And I think that, it was just a game plan that was perfect for the moment. And I think it was just another feather in the cap of Renee Slegers. Like, I think she really came in and was like, no, and oh my God, you want to talk about a queen? Like she came in, oversized t-shirt and fucking, soccer pants, just chilling like it was, a training day on a Wednesday, and not like the European final. Like she was out there like vibing. And she put together another masterclass performance in the biggest managerial game of her career so far. And
it seemed to me she dressed like that. She dressed the same as the rest of her staff, and
Yeah.
to me that just shows like she's not showing that it's just me. I'm the queen. I'm the one who did all this. Like she's like, yeah, it's me and the staff. Like we're all one team, and yeah, I fucking love her.
Yeah, I said it already. Like lifetime contract, I'm good. Like figure out a way to give her a 10-year deal to make sure no one has a chance. Like just like she has to stay until she decides she doesn't want to.
I feel like the only thing that I do on this show is crash out about Man City and eat crow about my previous takes. I did not think that moving Steph Catley to center back was going to work, and I really there were times where I was like, "Ooh, Renee, that's finna burn you." Like, I know that like Arsenal plays defense, but like, do you want a defender that don't really defend? Like at center back, like that's a choice. And to her credit, like Catley has really stepped up in that position, and it will probably like elongate her career. Like,
well, I was about to say, now they're talking about making that move permanent, like making her a center back, which is
because like
crazy.
Australia is like talking about doing that.
We unlocked a few
Lord, I've
steps.
seen what you've done for others. Please.
So I was definitely wrong about that move. And yes, Arsenal's defense obviously like played fantastic. Like no, Barcelona did not play well, and that was because of Arsenal's defense. I don't think that like Payor. I don't remember Payor ever really having a lot of space. Like that was like the one like we're gonna give everyone else space, but like Payor, like there's going to be someone next to you all of the time, all of the time. Yeah. And I didn't feel like she got free a whole bunch. And I thought that like Arsenal just did a good job of like steer, like we said it like several times, like you were like Barcelona, you were going to play the ball here. Like I know that you want to play it over there, but like no, that is not accessible to you. Now play it over there. And I think from there, like it just kind of limited what Barcelona could do once they got in the final third. And I think that like Kim Little and Caldente really had like I know that Leah Williamson like statistically had the best match, like and Stina Blackstenius scored the goal, but like my most important player for Arsenal was probably Caldente. And it wasn't solely on the fact that she played so well, but it was also making sure that her teammates knew like what they needed to be, like what they needed to expect, not just maybe from tendencies, but just like from like temperament, like how to make sure that they were like to know that they were frustrated, sort of thing.
Yeah, it definitely felt like Arsenal knew how to get under their skin from the off, and then not just in a Katie McCabe go out there kind of way, right? Like it very much felt like you could tell, like we talked about that own goal a lot. Like from that moment, it was very clear like Barcelona didn't know what to do with us. They just weren't expecting it. They didn't know how to handle it. And like I said earlier, like I think the only moment that you can look at and say maybe Barcelona could have done this much better was again that moment where I don't know who it was, but like they got into the goal scoring position and like they were fading away from a defender and were able to loft the ball over the defender, and it looked like over Daphne Van Domselaar, who like I said was just kind of stuck there like, oh shit, like here we go, like I can't get to it, like this is it. And you thought like that would be the goal, and it just hit the crossbar. And I think that is the singular moment where you could point to and say maybe Barcelona should have done better there. But even then, like I said, it wasn't a clear shot. It was a contested shot. Like we talk about in basketball, like it was a defender was on their ass. So like again, there were no freebies that match. They didn't get not a single freebie, and like we put them in a blender. Like let's just call it what it is. Like the defense, like I think top to bottom, everybody that played for Arsenal on that day played their best match of the season. And I think you always, coaches always talk about making sure that the championship game is the game you play your best. Arsenal did it. Like, I don't think I've ever seen every single person on that team all at once collectively say, fuck it, let's just go out there and have the best game we can have. And they all did that. I felt like, depending on, no matter the level of production or whatever, like, I just felt like everyone did to the best of their ability, their job.
I think that even goes to the coach and the coaching staff, honestly. Because, I mean, it's a big risk to give Barcelona the ball, and just kind of let them have all that space.
On us. Like, what?
Yeah, like that's a big risk, but basically just fuck it, we ball. Like definitely like felt like that was like the mentality of Arsenal, and like they did not like. They acted like they had reverence for the moment, but like also like treated it like a regular match, and like Barcelona felt like they knew how important it was to win 3 in a row of these, like and like put themselves up there with Lyon, who's like done the same, like because they have not won 3 consecutive. So I feel like they knew how important this was, and I felt like they played like they had a lot of pressure, and like that's why I think like once Blackstonius scored the goal, like it was like, oh, it's a wrap, because like that lemon booty got them girls. I'm sorry, like it's over.
I would love to know how much Mariona had a role in just their prep, because she knows that team inside and out. She is the one who has won 3 in a row now. She's won 4 total. Like she won 3 with Barcelona. And so I bet, she was instrumental, obviously we know. And she was voted like WSL Player of the Year or something. Yeah. She's like the best transfer we've had. And people were having doubts. They were like, no, she's only come because for Leah Valti and like whatever that whole thing is, but she's fantastic. Like she
has the biggest flex of anyone, because like when you said, when she left, Barcelona fans were like, well, you're dumb, why would you leave the powerhouse to go to Arsenal? Like you're never going to win anything there. Arsenal fans at the beginning of the year were kind of questioning the signing, but again, I think a lot of that we realize now is down to the coach that we had at the time and not so much the player. But yeah, there were like doubts about her. Like, was this the right move? Did we get the wrong Barcelona player?
Yeah.
And I mean, that transfer paid for itself in that match 10 times over, because like you said, I think Mariona, like Tom pointed out, I think Mariona was less critical in the X's and O's and more so just like, okay, when shit gets hairy, this is how they're going to try to feed Bon Mati. When she can't do it, this is how they're going to try to get Pyora on the match. You got to make sure someone's on her at all times. If you can frustrate this person, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you can do this to Pena, like, maybe you can get her off her game. Like, they just knew how to play each individual person and how to play as a collective. And it just, like I said, it was just a masterclass performance. And it's poetic as an Arsenal fan, as stressful as it was to have that match end 1-0, because it was just like it was poetic. It was like we played our best match and we won 1-0. Like that's the Arsenal way. Like that's what we do.
Exactly.
But yeah, it was amazing.
Before we talk about celebrations, because there's a lot of celebration to talk about, do you have any more thoughts and things about the match itself?
I just want to give props to Van Domselaar. Like I have said in the run-up how important she is, and I think I want to give most credit because I don't think she played that match 100%, to be honest. Because to then go international and be the only,
they said she ain't playing.
Well, that's what I mean. To be the only Arsenal player that went on international break and then there immediately was like, no, she can't play. She's not fit. I don't think that was like a party too hard problem. I think and kind of looking back on the match, like I think she played that match not at 100%, but just having her out there, I think you saw how important she is, because again, that defense went, and I hate kind of shitting on Manu because like I can tell how much she loves the club, and anytime a player is that passionate about my team, like I don't want to talk bad about them, but like I got to be honest, and like the defense when she's in goal is atrocious because like they're so worried about having to help her. Whereas when Daphne's in goal, you very much get the sense that they're like, we can do our thing and like we can play dangerously because like we have faith in who's back there. And so for her to put in the performance she had that was very clearly not 100%, I think is massive credit. And same to Leah, because like you said, if she was really kind of feeling sick or something was wrong, like just to grit it out on the biggest stage and the biggest match, like that is huge. And then to put in the performance they had, like that is huge.
Yeah, I agree. And then the celebrations. The whistle blew. We all went crazy cuckoo, as we should. It was so good. I can't even put into words just like how we're feeling. And it was just so like a wave of relief, just like, oh my God, this actually happened. But it didn't sink in. And like, to be honest, I don't think it still has sunk in yet. I need
No,
to like
not
watch the
really.
match. I need to watch it again and just like see. But yeah, for like the entire night afterwards, seeing the celebration, seeing the trophy, seeing like the socials, seeing everything, all of us like Arsenal fans went out to one of the like main party streets in Lisbon. And we took over Pink Street, and it was just everyone outside cheering and chanting and everything. Everyone I talked to there too was like, it hasn't sunk in yet. Like we feel like we still have the game to play. Like we're just here in like a pre-match thing. But it was just, the feeling of seeing your team win in person, such a big thing. Like it's so hard to actually describe how you feel and what that, just the sense of emotions that go through you. And it's so funny because it's like, sports to me are so funny, being a sports fan, because you just like how much you can be invested in something that in the grand scheme of things, like what does it mean? It's just 22 players kicking a ball around. But it like, yeah, it's just a lot. And it was so much fun. But I'll just say like, okay, so what we saw on the field after the whistle, basically there was like the medal ceremony, the trophies, that part. Afterwards, all the like Barca fans left, of course. We all stayed back, and the players celebrated with us. This stadium is Sporting Portugal's stadium, or Sporting Lisbon, I should say. And it's a weird one because there's a giant moat between the field and the stands. And so the players can't actually come to like the front row of the stands like they can in most stadiums. So they had to stay a bit away.
That's probably because they want to prevent the reverse.
Yeah, but it's yeah, they're over there. They probably
but
have problems with the opposite of fans coming.
I guess so. We did see that for the men's one, but in Munich. But yeah, I guess I haven't seen that in like any other men's stadium either that I've been to though. But it was just fun. Yeah, so they couldn't come that close, but it was so cute. Like all the different groups of players taking photos with each other, we could see, and like doing each of them taking a chance, like holding the trophy, and then. So we saw like all the England players taking it. We saw Jenna Nyswanger and Emily Fox taking a photo together. All the Aussies taking a photo together, and like the Swedes, like there were all these the groups of them, right? And then like Katie McCabe's family and Caitlin Ford's family, and like them took all one together, et cetera, et cetera. Like that was cute. And we all stayed because the like official photographer was taking the photos with the players with all the like red and white in the background. And so they didn't like want the fans to leave, and like we didn't want to leave either because we were all like in the back of their photos. So that was really cute. And then we like Renee hadn't come over to do a trophy lift yet, and so we like started chanting. We're like, we want Renee, and then she like sprinted over, did the trophy lift, and then there was like a chant for Renee, and something about like. I mean, she's been signed, but like extending her and just like how we like trust her and everything. That chant was cute. And she brought out her son, and her son like did the trophy lift. The trophy was as big as him. Like, he couldn't even, obviously he couldn't hold it, but literally he was as tall as a trophy. That was cute and everything. Everyone sang like North London Forever again, and just like it was so heartwarming and so much fun, and it just felt like such like a family moment almost. Like you're with all these strangers, but all of you are here for like the one same thing, and it literally just felt like a family. But to me, the best moment was when Chloe Kelly came, and she did her trophy lift, and she like tapped the badge, kissed the badge, and she like pointed and was like, I'm staying right here kind of thing. And then we also chanted, we're like, we want you to stay, like Chloe Kelly, we want you to stay. And she was standing with her husband, and she just like looked at us and didn't say anything, do anything. But as soon as we finished saying like, we want you to stay, she like again did the point, like, yeah, it seemed like, yeah, I'm gonna stay. And so we've talked about this, like we know that they want her, we know Renee wants her, we know she likes it, but just that kind of confirmation from her herself and like telling that to the fans directly, that felt so good. And I was like, oh my goodness. That's when I was like, I'm gonna cry. Like, all these like, things. Just seeing how much she like comes back and has like loved the club, and how we've brought her in after what Gareth and City did. But
Gareth Taylor, who is no longer with City Football Club, thank you very much. That is Gareth Taylor's failing, not Manchester.
Yes,
City.
correct.
More
Yeah,
clubs
yeah,
failing.
Yeah, to be
yeah.
fair, like I don't think Chloe Kelly has anything against Man City. The
No,
club.
no,
She's
and
very
she
much
doesn't.
the
And like the players
coach,
stand by her
but-
as well. The City players. It is it was the ex-coach now.
But yeah, I mean, it goes to show you that like at Arsenal, men or women's, like you have to do some foul shit to be having played there before, especially as an academy player, and then to be hated, right? Like there are maybe 3 players that are truly hated at Arsenal, and you know you can guess who they are. But like, it's very much a club that's like if you're one of us, you're one of us, and I think that Chloe Kelly coming back proved that because again, a player from our academy, she went off, she was struggling at City, she comes back, and I think immediately was embraced, and just her performance only enhanced that rekindling of love, and to win the Champions League with us, I think just sends it over the top. And we have actual confirmation from the club now. A few days ago, they released basically a list of the players that for men and women that are going to be leaving the club, and then the few players that they had announced that they've already begun contract talks with to keep at the club. One of those being Chloe Kelly. And I've said it before, like I think it's a matter of when, not if. I think the only question was always going to be what does she want to do as a person? Because again, there was kind of that talk that she wanted to be close to family and be in Manchester. So that was why a lot of people thought maybe United. But I think in the last few weeks, just even before we won the Champions League, I think it was very clear she wanted to stay. And I just think that winning the Champions League really cemented that. And yeah, I mean, we saw videos of her at the pub afterwards, basically chanting, "We want you to stay," as she's drunkenly chanting about herself, which was great to see.
Yeah, she was at the Tully, and like in almost every post game presser or interview that I saw of hers, she shouted out Renee. And like she loves Renee and everything. Even on Instagram, she posted. She was like, "That's a proper manager." And
man, I was like, and whom among us has not besmirched the name of Gareth Taylor? Like, and whom among us?
Yeah, and yeah, she was like right after when she got the medal and the trophy, one of those post game ones. The interviewer was like, "Yeah, and like." You guys know how to beat Barcelona or something, or you guys knew? And she was like, no. She was like, Renee knew how to, Renee knew how to beat Barcelona.
He was like, you beat Barcelona with City, and you beat them now. He was like, Chloe Kelly knows how to beat Barcelona. Yes. She was like, no, Renee Slagers knows how to beat Barcelona. And I just thought that, like, I love that quote because I was just like, oh my God, like the glazing was so real.
So real because she beat them with both and under both managers.
Like as a player, you could easily just be like, yeah, I got it like that. But like, nah, she was like, nah. Like big ups the manager and like yeah.
I mean, but not even the manager who beat them before as well. She's like, big up this manager. Exactly. So that was like extreme like subtweeting.
She wanted to stay. I think that there's a few things coming from the celebrations that like I loved because I've said this before. I spent that next week. Well, first of all, if you follow me on Blue Sky, I don't even apologize for my behavior immediately after. I sent off probably about 10 posts within a 4-minute mark where it was just absolute wild, just shit talking, celebrating. Like I wasn't hearing anything from anybody. But yeah, I think just like I said it before was like I was consuming everything Arsenal like it was drugs, like it was meth. I was just like everything I can see, everything I can get, every video, every picture, every post. I don't care where it's coming from. Just give me all of Arsenal winning. But like there was a handful of things that from the celebrations that really kind of stood out as like really poignant and cute and adorable. And one of those is one of my favorites was kind of that like leaning into that moment that Katie McCabe and Chloe Kelly had when Chloe was still at City with the infamous like hitting the head with the ball.
That was hilarious.
And
that was objectively hilarious.
Yeah, and they recreated that picture with the trophy and Chloe posted it on Instagram. Like they were like, you could tell they were tied at the hip throughout a lot of those celebrations. Like they very much have gotten past that moment.
Listen, I would want to party with the Big Shamrock too now.
Yeah, I think. Listen, Katie was the party. It seemed like she's
Irish.
She's the Jack Grealish of.
I would say yeah. She was on it, man. She was happy. Like I don't even blame her. But yeah, I mean, so like they're kind of like buddy cop film kind of partnership that has been growing the last few weeks. Like I loved seeing that. Obviously, the moment that I really loved was also the trophy lift itself, where you had Leah Williamson with Kim Little, who Tom talked about a lot, like just having the current captain with, I think, who many feel like is going to be the next captain when Kim steps away, and Leah, and just like having those two Arsenal legends lift that trophy.
That was a real cool
and
yeah, it was just a great moment.
Actually, I will say, there was another clip that came out. I believe it was the second leg against Lyon, or maybe the first, but Leah's giving the pep talk in the middle, right? And she's like, this badge has not, I forget the exact words what she said.
This badge hasn't necessarily done all it can for the players like Kim Little.
Like Kim Little. So she's like, win for Kim.
Yeah. She was like, a lot of the players have taken this badge places, and the badge hasn't necessarily
given back, or like, exactly.
Like, it's time we give back to players like Kim Little, and I love that. Yeah, you're right. And then I also like during the parade celebrations that they had, seeing Leah lift the cup with Katie Reed, who's like the next generation, right? Like a player who had a couple matches this season, who really showed her potential. Who's like, I mean, you see her next to Leah Williamson. She's like a unit. Like she's so tall.
Oh, she's so
just
tall.
Like a big presence, but also like you could tell she might, like, because she's young, like you can tell she might be a little shy still. So it's like, it was just a very good moment of like a lot of like, past, present, future, like everyone involved. Like it just felt really good. Aside from like how good winning feels, it just very much felt like, I don't know, it just felt like it just felt like less of a culmination and more of like a beginning.
I agree. The past, present, future thing is so real, because we saw like Jen Beattie was there, Jordan Nobbs was there,
Alex Scott was there.
Alex Scott, obviously, with they got a free
man. They
had Alex and Stina do a picture together
as
like the goal scoring. That was good.
It was like maybe 4 minutes into the comments, like post match commentary. And the commentators didn't even like, well, we, because it was like Leanne Sanderson was up there, and like Ian Wright was up there, and so like we.
Yeah.
Like,
the objectivity was gone at that point.
Correct.
I mean, obviously, exactly. We know, like, obviously Viv was there for Beth, and like she also was so emotional, and then. Who else did I see that was it? Oh, I think I saw Alex Scott. She's like dating Jess Glynn, the singer, right? And so in the post, like their celebration in their hotel or wherever it was, basically was just a free Jess Glynn concert. It's like, which was fantastic. But when Jess came on the field and like was with Alex in the trophy, like the Arsenal fans were like, "Oh, Jess, she gets a chant too," and so we like did a chant for Jess.
Everybody's getting
like,
chants.
everyone's
We don't
like,
care.
getting everyone. But yeah, the whole past, present, future, everything was so. You're so right. That was like so great to see in person and online. And I don't think I got my full fill of like online content from each of them. I still
checking on Arsenal's Instagram like now.
I was like, I'm missing stuff. I was trying to find like each person and like the family members, just trying to get every single like POV of what was happening.
I'm not done. The celebrations, I'm just cooling off. You know what I'm saying? I'm letting people not feel like I'm getting totally.
And that's the thing. That's I guess the only bummer from like that weekend was that they had to do the trophy lift back at the Emirates on the Monday, and like not a lot of people were back in London in terms of fans.
And they still had a ton of fans there.
They did. So they said the capacity was 10,000. I'm sure they let a bit more in because it was like an open space, but like it was a wave. Like you could not. It was just a block of people, and it looked really fun. I wish I could be there, but I hadn't come back then.
That's what I'm saying.
By then.
You could have easily had probably 5,000 to 7,000 more Arsenal fans who were probably in Lisbon, kind of taking an extended holiday, not knowing one that the team would win, right? Like I think a lot of people were just like, okay, I'm here, let's enjoy the trip as a trip to Lisbon. But also, it was such a quick turnaround because of the international break. Arsenal was like, okay, we got to get this parade done in 2 days.
Yeah. Because the players, some of them had to leave that night.
Oh yeah.
Which is crazy. So the whole turnaround of like, we could talk about how dense the season is for both like national or international play and like
games.
play.
And we're about to have the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anything is like a proof of they played too many games. Like you win the Champions League, have to celebrate the next day because you're getting ready to hop on a flight for international football.
Literally.
I
Literally.
can't
It doesn't
imagine
stop.
because Caleb, like, big up to Caleb Ford and Kyra Cooney Cross and Steph Cadley.
Oh my
for,
God,
like,
having to go all the way to
Oh
Australia.
my God, yeah.
on
But
that,
also
like,
shout out Australia because like we saw like a lot of homecoming, like
Yes, so that
welcoming the
was leading me
champions.
to that point.
I was about to say, yeah, sorry, but like I think Australia for me was the best one just because it was like the cutest. Like you could just tell, like all of their players were just so immensely proud, right? And just like they had like their hotel room decorated and like their team meeting space decorated. Like it was very much just like a really cool video to see. But like yeah, seeing all the celebrations like from the U.S. camp welcoming Emily Fox. Um, I mean, who else was there? The Swiss camp welcome,
Yeah,
treating Leia like a
VMLT.
princess over there. Yeah, it was really good to see. I mean, I can understand I can understand Spain not doing it as heavy. I think they stuck to just a picture and like a congratulations post. As salty as I want to like talk shit about them for that, like I get it. Like Spain is just an extension of Barcelona and Real Madrid. So,
and Olga Carmona. That's it. Like,
yeah.
it's just like Olga Carmona is probably like, well, I want to laugh because like when we play against them, like, but I need them to play well in this match.
That's what I mean. Yeah. So
Right.
it's like, but like other than that, like I just love seeing all the international kind of teams just welcome them in properly. Like it was just like like I said, I consumed every piece of content I could. It was just I'm still not fully coming down from the high that it was, but just yeah, it was great.
Same. I know. I'm gonna maybe do like a monthly rewatch of the match
Until the season starts.
until it starts. Yeah. I mean, even after it starts, like until the next final, just do as long as we are.
I mean, we're champions
Champions
until
League
the next
holders,
champion's
yeah.
crown, so it is what it
Exactly.
is.
Gonna
We got to
hold
talk
that.
about it. Which I do want to point out something. I want to say, like, just kind of to do a quick sidebar to connect some dots. Yeah, what's today? Thursday? Yeah, yesterday. Former Bayern Munich head coach Alexander Strauss was announced as Angel City's new head coach, the team that I cover and write about in the NWSL. So I had the opportunity to go listen to him talk, have a roundtable with him, ask him some questions. One of the questions was kind of like his history with Bayern and kind of not getting over the hump of Champions League. And he did hurt my heart a little bit because, again, I understand Arsenal are champions, so you want to make it look like you did well. But there was a couple of times where he was like, yeah, you look at how we did this season, and we absolutely destroyed Arsenal when we played them. And I'm just like, all right, bro, chill. Like, we don't got to talk about how you did Jonas, which is another layer that's going to be fun to watch for NWSL because Jonas is now at San Diego
Yes.
doing well. But, like, I say that to say that, like, it was really cool being an Arsenal fan, welcoming in a European coach and, like, him having to answer, like, losing to Arsenal in the Champions League and, like kind of that line of question. But, yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool to see that.
Yeah. I think that's all I have to say. I don't know. A lot of it I can't even put into words how like I was feeling that weekend especially. And I was even trying to tell like some of my friends who are not really big into football, and or even if they are, they're like not Arsenal fans and just like what it means and how it feels to be, especially coming from someone like Treb, you've been an Arsenal fan for way, way longer than I have. So I feel like even for you, it was maybe even like multiplied, but I like have been.
Well, not only that, but just like I also am I'm big on the men's team because I think a lot of you see this in women's soccer
Yeah.
in general, just like a lot of clubs that have men and women's necessarily you'll see some men's fans be women's soccer fans, but a lot of times the women's team fans don't necessarily care too much about the men's side. But
Yeah.
like I'm very much an Arsenal fan. Like DB said, like I've been in love with this team since '97, since I saw Ian Wright play when I was a kid. And then watching him connect with Dennis Bergkamp, and then Thierry Henry, and then Rachel Yankee, and then Alex Scott. Like I remember Alex Scott being the young phenom, and now she's like, years removed from the club. So like, yeah, like there's a lot of history for me there. I think, and this could be the hater in me, like I said at the beginning of the year, I just love that we got it again before Chelsea. Like just the fact that they have obsessed about this trophy
Same.
for
Yeah.
years. 4 years. This is the one they want. 4 years. This is the one they want. And to have a manager come in middle of the season, go unbeaten in the rest of the group stage, to have comebacks against Real Madrid, come back against Lyon, to have Barcelona in the final, a team that dogged Chelsea to no end, 8 goals on them and made them look like nothing, to then hold that team scoreless while we beat them on the biggest stage in global women's football. It was like, it was an elation that like is undescribable, because now it's like, I mean, I just feel like we're so far ahead of schedule. Like, and I'll be honest, like we'll talk about expectations like as we go into next season, but like as much as I love this and as much as I would love to say like let's keep winning Champions League, I think it's like I said, this was less a culmination and more of a beginning. And I think winning this Champions League title now sends the message to the rest of the WSL that like Arsenal are coming. Because in my opinion, the focus isn't repeating Champions League. The focus going forward is reclaiming our domestic crown.
Yeah.
We need to take that crown from Chelsea and we need to get back to holding it for ourselves for a while. I know Tom don't want to hear that because like City are now in the mix now, but like I very much need Arsenal to get back to that dominance where we were before, where it's like, you know, you had one unbeaten season. That's cute. We've had 6 in a row. Like there was a legit 10-year span where we owned this English football, and I want to get back to that. And so, yeah, I just think winning this Champions League was like a surprise, like the most pleasant of surprises. And I love that we're still the only English team to do it. We've done it twice. We've done it 1-0 both times. And yeah, I think now, like I said, I think it's the beginning. I think now it is time that we really retake our crown in women's soccer. So,
I mean, I'll go even so far to say that even if Chelsea does win next season, it won't mean like I won't. Yeah, it won't matter.
That's how I feel, because like I think for a lot of, and especially for me, because like again, I mentioned this before the final, where like I posted the picture of Alex Scott holding that first Champions League trophy in our group chat, and like the response was jokes. It was just like, oh man, that picture looks like it was taken with a flip phone. Oh man, you know, that picture, how old is it? Did you have to dust off the photo book for that? And so like, of course, when that final whistle blew, I was in there and I was like, hey, does this picture look clear enough for you? Got one in 8K now, you know? And I think that that's the point, is like now if Chelsea win it, they can't even say, hey, yours was like at a time where
20 years ago.
No, we won it this year. We won it recently, and we beat the team that y'all still haven't been able to beat.
Yeah.
Now, I will say,
y'all do that.
if Chelsea manages to win next year and the following year,
then we could talk about something.
Yeah.
But even then, like, well, anyway.
We'll get to that. We'll cross.
I'm not going to say the thing I wanted to say, but yeah. Well, anyway, they got to do it first. We'll see.
They got to do it first, exactly. But you know, it's so funny. I'm just remembering. So I ran into Sonia in Battersea Park here in London, right between the first and second legs when they played City. And she, I mean, obviously, I just asked her, I was like, oh, like, you have a big stretch of, like, important games coming up. Obviously, City beat Chelsea the first leg, and so they were going to come back. And she was like, yeah, we feel confident. Like, they were like, yeah. She was like, yeah, we're going to beat City. It's just so funny seeing that now until that. And, like, at that point, I didn't think, like, Arsenal was going to make it to the final. And so I was like, yeah, Chelsea probably will. And good luck. I didn't say like good luck for Champions League, but I also didn't let on that I was an Arsenal fan at that point. But it's so funny. Maybe it was me like hexing them in my mind.
Well, I think that's the thing too. Like, right? Like, there's a handful of Chelsea fans that have turned on Sonia already, right? Like there's a few that are just like wondering if that was the right move.
They didn't want her in the first place.
They didn't want her. That's true. They didn't want her.
This was a coach that, well, I mean, obviously you don't want to lose Emma. Like, that's tough. But like, also Emma, who was I think part of Arsenal staff when we won in 2007. So shout out Emma Hayes, because like was able to do it with Arsenal. But like, yeah, I think like I don't know, like I said, this is they've been obsessing about this trophy for a long time, and everything they've done has been to get over that Barcelona hump. I mean, they spent $1 million on a defender to try to keep Barcelona from scoring down the line. Like everything they've done has been with Barcelona in mind. And I think, again, it's one thing for Arsenal to win the trophy this year. It's one, like I said, the only way it would have been better would be if it was Arsenal Chelsea in the final and we beat them. Like then it would be even that much more sweeter because it would be like, you take it from them. But I think this was also just equally as glorious because again, like we had to come back against Real Madrid. We had to take down Lyon in their house. Then we have to play the perennial powerhouse in Barcelona and hold them scoreless. So I just think nothing about this run can have an asterisk put on it, right? Like you can't say anything about it. We won the Champions League. We beat the very best to do it, and we did it for a second time. And like I said, that just it feels good going into next season knowing that. And I hope, like a lot of fans hope, I hope we can just capitalize on it, right? Like I think now the important part is locking down the players you want to keep, and then going out and getting 2 or 3 kind of like superstars. I feel like that we still need a winger or an attacker kind of like that can create their own shots, similar to Caldente, but just a little bit more clinical, which was why I really wanted Svendis on the team. She's also now in LA. But yeah, I think that if we can just take advantage of that and attract players, I know that there's a certain Liga MX Femenil player hovering around London. I think she's likely going to London City, but I mean, if there's ever a time to poach a move, it's now. Like these are the kind of players you need to start going after and start being like, look, we may still be in a rebuilding phase, but we have a Champions League trophy. We show that on any given day we can beat anyone. Now we just need a couple more pieces to take over and take us over that hump. So
yeah,
that's my.
And they really were the comeback queens. Like we had to go from the first round of qualifying all the way through to the final. Even in the last qualifying
you lost the first match, right?
No.
Yeah, I think we did in the qualifiers. Yeah, I think
in the qualifiers, in the third round of qualifiers, they lost to Häcken. Lost the first leg to Häcken from Sweden. Won the second leg, obviously. Lost to Bayern in the group stage massively. That was the turning point. We know when
that mixed with the following Chelsea loss. Yeah, was the 2.
Lost to Real Madrid first leg of the quarterfinals, lost Lyon first leg of the semifinals, and so that's why going into this one, it was okay, this is one match. There's no second leg to come back from.
With. Yeah.
But yeah, that's why it was just phenomenal, and I don't have any more words to say.
I will say, I think because I was looking at it now, even though we finished in second, winning the trophy means we're in the winners bracket now. So
yes, correct.
I guess that's in that regard. Point. So we even have an easier path next year.
We do, and
even though we finished second in the league, that is amazing. It could not be better right now for Arsenal.
Next year will actually be really, really interesting because they're moving to the same thing that the men are doing, the same format. So there'll be the whole league phase, and
it'll be fun.
We get to go straight to that. No more qualifying for us.
Well, thanks for raising the coefficient, because now at least the goal in the WSL is to win, or just because the WSL is only has 12 teams, they're not going to get more than 3 Champions League spots, which is probably one of the reasons why they had talked about expanding and stopping Pro-Rel. That stated, at least hopefully whoever comes in second now can also jump straight to the group stage, by Arsenal winning should raise the league's coefficient.
Right.
Exactly.
That's the hope. But yeah, what about you, Tom? Just from a neutral perspective, what are your final thoughts on
any last thoughts
that has happened?
I mean, I think I said it. I think that Arsenal said, fuck it, we ball, from the coach down, gave Barcelona the space that Arsenal wanted to give them, not that Barcelona wanted to take. And our Barcelona played poorly because of Arsenal's defense. and that's was the story of the match.
Oh, one more thing. Emily Fox has never lost a final in her life.
Put some respect on Emily Fox. Don't make me go on a
name.
rant. Don't make me end this with a rant. Because
no, we're not ending with a rant.
There's a lot of U.S. fans that do not rate her, and I feel like in my heart, I feel like it is only because she plays for Arsenal. Like if she was playing for West Ham or Villa, she would get a lot more love from a lot bigger section of the fans. And I feel like people are doing that thing that England loves to do, which is like, I'm not going to root for them on national team because they play for a domestic rival. Like, what are you doing? She is one of the best right backs on the planet, like it or not. Like it or not.
I think people don't also like her style of play, but
no,
I do.
I get it. Like she gets cooked a lot. Like she does lose track of offensive players a lot.
But she likes to wander, and she likes and she's good, and that's it.
She's good. She's my right back, as we say here with Arsenal fans. She's our right back. Like that's my quarterback. That's my right back. So like I said before, if y'all don't want her at the U.S., stop calling her up. She needs rest. That's true. Fine with me. We'll take it. Like, But yeah, she's now a Champions League winner. Shout out Jenna Neiswanger, who on the same night that Arsenal won Champions League, her former club, Gotham, won the CONCACAF Women's, I think they call it Champions League as well. But
CONCACAF W Champions Cup. That's what it is. Because the format of that tournament from what changes I understand,
because of how much she played with Gotham before making the move, she does get a medal from that. So Correct. She won 2 medals in a night.
Yes.
How about that? Shout out to the who has also been in a few more advertisements for Arsenal, because again, like my thing is I hope we see more of her next year, and she seems to be taking a little bit more of a central front facing role in terms of like being in promotions and being in some of the team's social media advertisements. So I'm hoping that is a sign that we will see her more on the pitch, because I do think under Renee, I think that she can give us some options, right? Whether it's an attack, whether it's in kind of like a midfield defensive role. Like I just think that she has talent enough to where under Renee, like we can figure it out and we can get her in the mix. So that's all I'll say. I can say so much more, but that's all I'll say. We'll have plenty of time to talk about next season and all that.
Tom, did you want to say something about Emily Fox?
I think that there are a portion of U.S. women's national team fans whose lasting image of Emily Fox was when she played in the NWSL.
Louisville, Emily Fox, yeah.
Yes, she was at Louisville, and Louisville was not a great team. Mm-hmm. And like she was never like right back is not really a position of like, oh, this will instantly make the team better. Like there's 11 players on the pitch, and so like there's very few that are like that singularly spectacular that are going to make a difference on the pitch. So I think that like they have not been able to they've not been able to necessarily view her like their mind is set on like who the player that she was when she was at Louisville on a bad team versus like going literally across the ocean to a different country to play. And like, I think that like their mindset is already stuck on her being in Louisville. It doesn't really necessarily matter. And so like when she comes into camp, it's like it's just, predisposing them to like notice like, oh, well, Caroline just cooked her from Brazil. Like, that's not great. Like, and like Caroline cooks a lot of players. Like, that's not, but those things like are more noticeable when you have that like predispositions, like this player is not good. Because if you already think
they're not good, you're gonna look for those moments more than any. Because like the fact of the matter is, and I know U.S. fans don't want to hear this, but like their defense as a whole is trash right now. Like, let's just call it what it is. There's a reason why Emma Hayes is.
Do not disrespect Naomi Gurma like that ever.
I
again
mean,
in your
okay,
life.
but that's why I said as a whole, not like individually, right? Like as a whole, that
I
defense
said
right now.
what I said.
Yeah, I mean, but
Do not disrespect
I'm not.
Naomi Gurma
Naomi
in that
Gurma
matter.
is the only good, like, only player that gives you 10 out of 10 every time. But like, just that, there's a reason why Emma Hayes is like mixing and matching a lot of those players, and why Naomi and Emily Fox are the two consistents, right? Like, so like, it's a lot. But like, yeah, I just think that like, put some respect on Emily's name. She's a Champions League winner now. She's won Europe and Olympic medals, and probably soon World Cups. So like Deepti said, every final she's been in, she's won. So you would think y'all would want her at least there.
Exactly. Okay. Is that all, folks? I
Yeah,
think so.
I mean, Mark's not here, so we can't make fun
That's
of him.
all I got.
So it
That's
is
what I got. Just one more thing. I'm playing the whole thing.
She said, you might as well just wrap it up as we go. Because this is how we're going to go out. This is how we're going to go out. We are the champions of Europe.
Thank you, Emma, for this. My tongue's like...
We out.
Champions League winners! You'll never see that! 2 times! 2 times!